This is a T422 production.
If you want to talk some Simpsons, we do it with distinction. Insert brain here. With Springfield in our vision, our spirit is embiggened. Insert brain here. Flanders, Quimby, Otto, Man, the Hasapima, pedal on. Insert brain here. We've got Simpsons to ponder. Here comes David and Connor. Insert brain here.
Welcome back to Insert Brain Here, a Simpsons podcast. I'm your host Connor, and with me, as always, is my co-host, David.
That's me. Well, better stop sucking his dick now if that's going to affect the sound of the podcast.
Oh, today we're talking about Mr. Lisa Goes to Washington, the second episode of the third season of The Simpsons. Original air date, the 26th of September, 1991.
Very good.
David, have you ever visited Washington, D.C., the capital of our great nation?
No, I have not. And no, I will not. With yourself?
I would like to visit Washington, but not for any of this.
Not
I
for
don't want
this
to go and
push.
see Lincoln or Jefferson or
Yeah.
Washington or
Or the monument or whatever.
name another president. Taft. Oh, I don't want to go and see the Taft Monument.
Yeah.
President Woodward?
Eisenhower?
Dwight D. Eisenhower, yes.
There we go. At least I got one fucking president
Wow,
done.
we really knocked out of the park.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I think, what was the plot of this episode of The Simpsons?
So, strap on, lube up,
It's
get
time.
going.
We're going to Poundstown. The David recap of this episode of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Take us away.
Okay.
Let's cut through all the cheese.
Yeah.
Take me to Washington, D.C.
Give you a good time. Right. The beginning of the episode, we've got Homer discovering a Reader's Digest. Absolutely loves them.
Mhm.
Does some reading for pretty much the first time since school.
Yeah.
So,
Mr. Burns does say that his job called for an illiterate.
yes, it
So-
did indeed. And he was adequately filled in the title
Oh, yes.
up until this point. And he's sitting reading at work everywhere. He's enamored with it. Right to the very end, reads the entire thing cover to cover. And at the end, there's a little competition. He's like, oh, I'm excited about this. He's like, shit, it's kids
It's a
only.
free trip to Washington, all expenses paid, VIP pass, the whole shebang.
Yep. Tosses it in the bin when he realises it's for kids. Might I point out he throws it past Bart and Lisa to the bin.
Of course.
Lisa obviously is like, oh, wait a minute. Has a look at it, and in the fine print, it's for children under 12.
Mm-hmm.
8-year-old Lisa, perfect.
Well remembered.
I know.
Some sort of a Simpsons expert over here.
Oh, you'd have thought. This far in, you'd have thought. Lisa enters the competition. There's a big montage about where and who's all entering and all that kind of stuff.
It's
Big
all
regional,
across America.
big regional competition all the way across. And she gets in, she gets to the finals, does a big
Yes.
speech. Everyone's tearing up. Homer's tearing up. Everyone's very patriotic because it's a patriot speech, basically.
Yep.
And
She wins the trip
she
to
wins.
Washington and is in the final four.
Final four? Yes,
Yeah,
it is,
yeah.
because 3 others. So yeah, final four. And it's there that she realizes that corporate America is corrupt.
Yeah, her state
Because-
representative accepts a bribe.
Yeah, what in front of her, basically, but they don't know that. But
Yeah, to
she
have
witnesses it.
all the trees in Springfield cut down.
Cut down. Yeah,
Springfield forests to
Yeah.
be taken by the logging company.
Exactly. So she loses faith in that, turns up at the last moment when she's supposed to be doing a speech.
Yeah.
Doesn't do that speech, does a different one where she says that Washington, the cesspool or swamp.
It was built on a stagnant swamp.
Stagnant
and it
swamp, yeah.
Stank then and it stinks now.
That's the one. Yeah, just basically badmouths it for a little while, bringing up good points about the fact that it is corrupt and all that.
Mhm.
But one of the jurors, one of the judges,
Judges, yes.
runs over, makes a phone call saying the little girl's lost faith in in America, in the system, and so they, within about an hour or so, they've got that corrupt politician in jail, and he's already converted to Christianity.
Yeah. They
within 2 hours.
They set up a fake bribe to have the head of Teddy Roosevelt on Mount Rushmore replaced with an oil drill.
Yeah, drilled into for oil. Yeah.
Oh, man.
They read the newspaper, they realise, the system works. Doesn't, whatever.
No, it does not.
But she loses the competition, and they learn a lesson or not, whatever. And that's the episode.
Well done. That was a fairly good recap.
That was
One
as
of your
concise
be- one
as
of
I
your
could,
better.
I could ever get
It was concise. Near the end, you kind of went off the rails and just went, fuck it, whatever, the episode ends.
Yeah, the episode basically ends at that point.
Oh, whatever.
It's good
Credits roll.
Yeah, something happens.
Wow.
Very good.
I'm proud of you for that recap.
Thank you.
Wait until Mr. Smith goes to Washington. We mentioned this in our last episode 3 months ago.
We did indeed.
But this Christmas, or this December,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to be doing a different podcast called Merry Christmas Movie House,
Yep.
in which we cover 4 separate films that all star James Stewart.
Indeed we will.
One of which will be Mr. Smith Goes to Washington because of this episode
Indeed.
of this show, The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Insert brain here, a Simpsons podcast.
Yeah.
A there and B square.
Doesn't it usually be there or be square?
Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. David, that's the sound you know and love. It's I on Springfield.
Yeah, it is indeed.
The segment of the show where I cover characters who made their first appearance in this episode, and you drill in your crotch.
Oh, it's not always drool. It's sometimes
Anyway, David, first appearance of Barbara Bush.
Barbara Bush. That would be President Bush's wife.
Correct him,
Yeah.
no.
I was going to say or lover, but I was thinking she's too wrinkly for that shit.
Well, it's George. It's
Yeah.
President Bush.
Yeah.
David, first appearance of George Bush Senior. I might have gave the game away on that one a wee bit.
Maybe. But yeah. Well, it's George Bush Sr. That would be the president.
Former President of the United States of
Yeah.
America.
Yep.
David, first appearance of Maria Dominguez.
Is that the person that sort of what's her exact title? Patriot section of the Reader's Digest?
Wrong.
Okay. What was her name again?
Maria Dominguez.
Maria
I really
Dominguez.
thought when you started talking there,
Hmm.
at the beginning of what you were saying about who Maria Dominguez was, I thought he's gonna do it. He's gonna 100% this and
No
win.
chance.
He's gonna win that prize.
What prize?
Remember how I mentioned
I know.
many weeks ago?
Yeah.
If you ever fully get full marks without any wrongos, there's a prize.
Yeah. Well, not this week.
No, God,
Not
no.
this week.
Mystery prize stays locked in my safe. David, who is Maria Dominguez?
Is she one of the contestants?
Yes.
Very good.
David, who is Bob Arnold?
Bob Arnold. Is that the person that the guy phones saying, we've got a little girl that's lost her faith in the system?
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Okay. Yep.
Who is Bob Arnold in this episode?
I don't remember.
You're giving up?
He's one of the judges, maybe.
Wrong. David, Bob Arnold
Okay. Yep.
is the guy that takes the bribes.
Oh, the
State senator
the
or
senator.
representative or whatever.
Yeah. I think it was the senator.
Same thing, probably.
Yeah.
David,
Mm-hmm.
who is Truong Van Din?
Truong Van Den. Is that one of the other contestants.
It is, yes,
Yeah,
correct.
the one that
David.
won.
Yes.
Yeah.
David, lastly, who is Faith Crowley?
Faith Crowley. Also one of the contestants, the last contestant.
Wrong.
Okay. Is she the beauty technician that's the jury or the judge? Sorry.
Wrong.
Okay, fair enough.
Insert the wrong theme. That's been enough times.
It's not this.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong.
Not this bitch I've already guessed about the Reader's Digest Patriot, head of Patriot section or something.
David, you're right.
Ah, very good. There we go.
If you'd only sussed that out sooner, you could have risked you could have saved yourself from
Could have
the
done.
embarrassment of getting the wrong theme played in an episode.
Yeah, I know. Fucking hell.
Questions, eh?
Yeah, questions normally.
I.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Questions? Questions and answers.
Yep.
Thoughts, prizes.
Yep.
3 blind mice trivia.
Very good.
David, I wish I had an interesting question, but I'm falling back on an old favourite.
Yeah.
What did you think of this episode?
Well, I'll fall back in an old thing. No.
Oh, no. David, do you think that if this episode came out now, in the current American political landscape, it would have such an optimistic ending?
That's a good question. I think that no.
I liked it.
I think that no is probably the answer to that. If nothing else, there would be a lot more satire and sort of poking fun at politics and politicians that you can get away with these days. Like, they can't really say anything about it. They might try and sue or whatever for slander or whatever the other name of it is.
Libel.
That's it, for libel. But they're not getting anywhere with it.
Yeah.
There's so many other things. There's like direct parodies of people.
I think
that
also
don't
just
get away with that, or that get away with that. Sorry.
the attitude of the public towards politics and politicians and
just the
Congress
state
and
of
everything
Congress in general, I guess.
has changed drastically. In preparation for this episode, by the way, I watched Mr. Smith Goes to Washington for the first time.
Yeah.
And at first I couldn't get into it.
Okay.
Because it's so...
America.
It so
sort
loves
of like-
America to begin with.
Right.
It makes sense as a film. I won't talk about the film too much because also we're covering it in December.
Mm-hmm.
But
which is when I'll watch it.
yes, obviously.
A minute before the podcast.
But it's to get you into the headspace of the Jimmy Stewart character.
Yeah.
That's not as egregious here, obviously, but I think the thing of and again, they've only got 25 minutes of animation.
Yeah. Aye.
The guy running to the phone to phone whoever that guy was, I can't remember.
Yeah.
To be like, a little girl has lost her faith in US politics, where they get that guy and they frame him and they arrest him and they put him in prison. He gets sentenced within an hour, I think.
Yeah, I think it was about 2 hours maybe.
Because
It was definitely within the end of the speeches.
Because the guys who did it work for Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah. President Bush is sort of given a pretty good look in. He
does.
shows up again later on in The Simpsons, obviously,
Yeah.
in increasingly negative roles.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is an optimism here that wouldn't be present in an episode. You could say, like, not in an episode made in the 2000s when Bush Jr. was president, but even less so now, post 2016.
Oh, yeah.
Something happened in 2016.
Yeah. Yep.
Captain America Civil War came out.
Yeah.
the hit horror movie Don't Breathe hit cinemas.
That's the one. That's the reason.
Yeah.
The whole reason.
Gosh darn. That really ruined America, that movie.
It did.
What did you think of this episode? I almost called you Simpsons. David, what did you think of this episode? I thought it was funny.
I quite like this episode in the way that from what I know of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, I think they parodied it.
It's almost not even a parody.
No, it's not. It's like almost their take on it, but it was...
It's really just the general brushstroke of person who is optimistic about American politics goes to Washington and sees corruption firsthand and then stands up to try and fight it in their own way. Yeah,
which is kind of funny in the fact that Lisa... Maybe I'm remembering later episodes.
I think you are, because I know what you're about to say.
She's got a bit of a dim view of American politics.
She's also not a vegetarian at this point.
That's true, yeah. But anyway, so I quite like the fact that, okay, parody is probably not the way to describe it.
There is a later episode of The Simpsons where they do a direct parody.
All right.
Of Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Do they? Ah, right, okay.
With Mel Gibson.
Oh, right, okay.
Mel Gibson plays the James Stewart character.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you carry on.
Yeah. So I quite like the episode. I think that it's quite funny. There's a couple of good gags in it. It's a pretty good episode overall. If you just sort of like if you suspend your disbelief of anyone, you got to put your head in the mindset of the fact that this is 1991 America, not now.
Yeah.
Watching it now, you've really got to think about the fact that some people really did actually believe everything in the system works in America. I'm sure some things do, but I think everyone really knows by now that a lot of it does not work for the people. Yeah,
there's actually a quote that I want to mention here.
Okay, yeah.
So it's important to note that Mr. Smith Goes to Washington was made by a filmmaker called Frank Capra.
Okay.
Who also made It's a Wonderful Life.
Right, yes.
And John Cassavetes, who's an actor, once said, maybe there really wasn't an America, maybe there was only Frank Capra. About his films and the way that they represent America and
portray it.
An idealized America that people like to believe exists.
Or ever existed, if that was the case.
3. Well, I did something different last time.
You did indeed. You forgot about this.
3 blind mice.
There we go.
3 blind mice. Here's the trivia for The Simpsons. 3 blind mice trivia.
I knew one every episode.
Oh.
Fucking Jesus.
God, that was wonderful.
Go. Yep. Got me riled up for it. Let's go.
Woo!
Believe it or not, Connor almost pulled a muscle by being that fucking animate.
My arms are above my head for the first time in 20 years.
Yep.
Bob Arnold tells Lisa that there are quite a few women senators. Lisa responds there are only 2. At the time of this episode's airing, there were indeed only 2 female senators. Nancy Casaubon Baker and Barbara Mikulski.
Okay.
Less than a month after this episode aired, the sexual harassment allegations of Anita Hill during the Senate confirmation for Supreme Court nominee Clarence Thomas drew nationwide attention to the lack of women in the Senate. The 1992 elections, dubbed the Year of the Woman, the number tripled from 2 to 6. Still not enough, obviously.
That's like a really small number still, but at least it's going up at that point.
I mean, today it's obviously much higher.
Yeah.
I assume.
I would think so. I don't know much about American politics
AOC.
Today.
She's in politics.
Yeah.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
There's another one.
Yeah. And that's it.
Ruth Bader. there was Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because she was now dead.
Yep. Yeah.
That's 3. Just off top of my noggin.
For people that don't know America all that well, that's pretty impressive.
Here's another politician for you. Margaret Thatcher.
Very good.
Matt Groening has named this as one of his favourite episodes. I think I say that every second week.
I think so.
I'm like, Matt Groening loves this episode.
Oh, he does.
Has he ever seen The Simpsons?
I don't think so.
In Dulles Airport, there is a sign reading bus info and then a phone number. This was the real phone number of the show's art director and was drawn there without his knowledge.
Nice.
I think someone definitely got fired for that.
Oh,
I don't have
I
any.
bet.
I have no trivia that says that, but dear God.
I would imagine that they definitely got fired for that shit.
Yeah.
He would have been getting phone calls every which way
It's
Sunday.
kind of in the background, and it's but still.
Oh,
You think about
anyway.
old TVs in the 90s as well, but
Yeah.
all it takes is one.
Mm. The other point is as well, it's a lot easier to change your number now than it used to be. Especially like early on in the 90s.
Well,
That would have been a lot harder.
I wonder if it was a mobile number or a landline as well.
Ah, if it was a landline, that'd be even worse.
Dear God, you
Yeah.
have to just kill yourself.
Maybe they go fired after.
During the White House tour, the Simpsons see a sign reading, "On this spot, Richard Nixon bowled back-to-back 300 games," which Homer scoffs at.
Mm.
In real life, Nixon was an avid bowler.
Mm.
He even frequently bowled while he was president, finding that bowling fit well into his work schedule. However, it's unlikely that he ever bowled back-to-back 300 games.
Fair enough, I quite like the fact that they, based off of the fact that he was an avid bowler, put a bowling alley
In the White House.
into the White House.
I think that's real. I'm sure I've seen photos of him. Yeah.
I've seen photos, but I didn't know if it was real or not. I thought that was maybe just someone had like photoshopped something in.
Or you take a photo of Nixon at a bowling alley and you
Yeah,
say that that's in the White House.
Aye. But yeah, I quite like that.
I
That's
thought
awesome.
you were going to go, fair enough. That's why I started laughing. You went, oh, fair enough. I was like,
as opposed to which I did with the last bit.
yeah, that's the one. Then President George Bush is featured briefly in this episode and is portrayed in a positive, albeit hokey light.
Mm-hmm.
Shortly after this episode aired, Bush disparaged the show in a speech.
Mm-hmm.
Thus, Bush appears in 4 later episodes in a much more negative light.
As he should.
Yep,
Cunt.
fuck him.
I think it was the last episode where we actually said about what he actually said about the show.
I was in a previous episode, but I've mentioned it before.
Yeah, I
It
think it
should
was
be
last episode.
less like The Simpsons and more like The Waltons.
That's the one.
Oh my God.
Oh, well done there, Connor. Pulling that out your cranium somewhere.
Al Jean and Mike Reese took over as showrunners for the 3rd season. This was their first episode as showrunners and they felt a lot of pressure about running the show.
Mm-hmm.
They were so pressured that they did 6 to 7 rewrites of the script to make it funnier. Gene said, "One reason for doing all these rewrites is because I kept thinking it's not good enough."
Mm.
And Reese added, "We were definitely scared. They dumped this on us."
Nice.
The women's suffrage display Lisa visits is likely a parody of Susan B. Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
When Lisa mentions she later appeared on the highly unpopular 75-cent piece, this is a reference to the Susan Anthony dollar coins, which were often mistaken for quarters by vending machines and cashiers.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Yeah, great honorary
Quarter the
coin.
price of the dollar. Thanks.
In the office of the congressman from Springfield's state, there is a state seal. It depicts an ear of corn, a star, a beaver, and a nuclear power symbol.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
I've been watching the Children of the Corn films lately.
Yeah.
Got through watched the first 3 this week.
Right. Yeah. Any good?
Second one's really good. Very
Right.
funny. I was telling you about, I sent you a clip from it.
So you did? Yes.
There's a woman in a wheelchair and she flies through a window.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
They don't make movies like that anymore.
No, they don't.
The banner that reads "Brevity is wit" is a reference to a line in Hamlet where Polonius says brevity is the soul of wit.
Hmm.
The joke is that the banner is applying greater wit by increasing the brevity of the original Shakespeare line. Even funnier, as noted in the banner, the event is sponsored by Reading Digest, an allusion to Reader's Digest,
Yeah.
which abridges popular books for its readers.
Yeah.
The man singing and playing the piano during the contest finals is a parody of Mark Russell, a political satirist of the 70s, 80s and 90s.
Didn't get that one myself.
No, David, that is the end of 3 Blind Mice trivia.
Very good. It was riveting.
Mm.
I say that genuinely. I'm not shitting on you about that one.
I hate 3 Blind Mice trivia.
Do you? Why?
Kind of. It's a good way to pad an episode. But it is genuinely just me reading off a screen, and I have to read everyone like 7 or 8 times because I fuck it up somewhere.
It's not easy reading a bunch of like convoluted names or facts or stuff like that. You really make it hard for yourself sometimes.
Yeah.
Aye.
But I do it for you, the listener.
Yeah.
Listener.
Yeah, listener.
Okay.
I feel like it's wrong now that I've said it.
Well, David, you don't have to worry about that. See, you have something else to worry about.
I know.
I've tricked you.
Here
Trivia is not over. David, it's time for the return of our increasingly popular segment. Who complained and why?
Is it increasingly popular?
I like it.
It's because you're not guessing.
This is the segment.
You're making me sweat.
I ask you, who complained about this episode and why did they complain? I give you no hints and nothing, and I just let you spasm.
Sit, sweat, and spasm. The 3 S's of this show.
That's Don't forget spit. We're always slobbering over mics. Slobbering, another S.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a good few C's of the show.
Do not delay any further, David.
Yeah,
Tell me who complained and why.
Well, it's a political episode, so
that's what I'll say to that guess.
yeah.
Oh wait, sorry, I have one other bit of trivia that I forgot to mention.
Mm-hmm.
The scorecard that Lisa gets for her speech, she gets a 10 in originality, a 10 in clarity, a 9 in organisation, and a 10 in jingoism.
Yeah.
Giving her a total score of 39 out of 40.
Yeah.
However, after the judge meets Homer, she gives her an additional 5 bonus points, giving her a final score of 44 out of 40.
Yeah.
There we go.
I noticed that it was 10, 10, 9, 10 or whatever it was, whatever order it was. But I noticed the fact that she would have a greater score than
anyone else could possibly get. Yeah.
Which is how she's definitely going to Washington.
Okay, David.
Yeah.
Who complained and why? I gave you a little bit of time to think about it there.
Yeah, I thought about only what you were talking about at the time. Who complained and why? Like I said, it was a political episode, so
true.
We'll go with the opposing party members, or
opposing party.
There's opposing parties to whoever's in power at the time, George Bush Sr.
Wrongo.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nothing like that. You're pretty far off. It does have to do with the Washington segment of the episode.
Okay. Is it to do with Lisa's speech about the Washington? No. Okay. The Washington.
About Washington. You're getting closer.
Okay. Who
complained and why?
Why would anyone complain about the Washington section? Is it about the feminist monument?
Wrong.
Okay, that's maybe more of a modern complaint.
Yeah.
The fact that they parodied that.
Susan B. Anthony.
Yeah, but they did direct monuments of the guys.
I guess that should be, maybe that is complaint worthy, but that's not what I have here.
Yeah, it's not the reason anyone complained, or at least not enough anyway.
I'll tell you this caused a massive stink. This wasn't like a little one-letter complaint. This was an entire industry complaining about the show, to the point where Matt Groening had to issue several statements about this.
Really?
Yes. Several newspapers got involved. I'm looking at the story right now. Yeah.
Was it about maybe basically the tourist board or something for Washington? Where did they get involved in the fact that it was maybe portrayed in not so positive a light?
Wrong-o.
Okay.
It was portrayed in a very positive light.
Yeah, I thought it was too, but
you never know.
Yeah, I just thought I'd guess. Because people can be weird about this. I thought that would have been basically all the things to really complain about.
Do you want me just to tell
Was
you,
it,
David?
was it because of the fact that the winner was an Asian guy?
No.
Was that? I was
Why
like,
would anyone complain about that?
I don't fucking know.
It
Racist
was
people in America.
1991, I guess. I want to say America was less racist in 1991 than it is now.
Also, I mean, I suppose if it's about the Washington bit, Washington isn't probably all that racist as a
person?
No, I mean Washington, the state.
Okay.
The state.
I was like, David, I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
much about American history.
But I know that.
I know Washington was no fucking good.
Yeah. No. I meant Washington, the state, as a
no, it's
as a
nothing to do
collective.
with. In fact, it's to do with a different state. But it is an event that happens in this episode in Washington. It does have to do with the Susan B. Anthony parody statue. It's not about that, but it does relate to that. And David, it does inspire Lisa's essay about how Washington stunk and it stinks.
Right. So
Who complained
it's
and why?
I'm guessing about the fact that they bought out the senator. And that was, the particular one was about the Springfield trees getting cut down.
So who complained?
So tree huggers, Greenpeace.
The opposite.
What?
Who complained?
Lumberjacks?
David, this episode was met with complaints. This episode was met with complaints from the timber industry due to the depiction of a timber lobbyist trying to bribe a corrupt congressman to cut down all of Springfield Forest.
What the fuck?
You want me to read the entire thing? I have like
Yes.
the whole shebang here.
Oh, this is an article.
According to the plain dealers, Rodney Ferguson, the timber industry was insulted by the scene in which a timber industry lobbyist offers a bribe to the corrupt congressman so that he can demolish Springfield Forest. The Oregon's Land Coalition, a pro-timber group in Salem, Oregon, bombarded the producers of the show with phone calls and mail protesting the episode. The coalition said it portrayed loggers unfairly and is allowing itself to be used by environmental extremists. In an open letter to The Simpsons executive producer James L. Brooks, the coalition wrote, "Rather than approach this issue with genuine concern for Mother Earth, you took an easy shot at hard-working people whose only crime is having been born in a timber town." Karen Clark, a payroll clerk for a timber company in Staten, Oregon, said, "The Simpsons portrayed us as greedy, bribery-type people. It didn't portray us as the everyday people, mothers, fathers, good members of society that we are." Luke Popovich, vice president of the American Forest Council, wrote a letter to the show's producers to protest the fuzzy-headed characterizations that pass for political correctness. The thinking in Hollywood where people are not very serious about these issues, but interested in pushing the right hot buttons, scoring the right points with audiences.
Wow.
Simpsons creator Matt Groening responded to the criticism in an interview with TV Guide, in which he said he did research on the ecological damage caused by clear-cutting and overlogging, and it's really appalling. Jackie Lang, a timber industry activist in Salem, who helped lead the protest against the Fox network, and Groening, said she was appalled by Groening's response and he will be sorry he ever made it.
Bloody hell. Okay.
Jake Hogan, supervising producer of the show, defended Groening, stating, "The episodes are just little stories, little comedies, stories that make people laugh." On October the 15th, 1991, Groening issued another statement to the public in which he said, "So now a few lumber companies have joined the nuclear power industry, right-wing preachers, and high-ranking Republicans in attacking The Simpsons. We must be doing something right." I must point out The Simpsons is a cartoon show, not 60 Minutes. Later in the show, the same lobbyist proposed drilling for oil in Teddy Roosevelt's head at Mount Rushmore. Please don't tell the oil companies about this. David Reinhard of the Oregonian commented on the criticism, "Hollywood sharpsters can always make a group from the Great American Hinterland look ridiculous when it zeroes in on one show, particularly if that show is a cartoon. And the Oregon Lands Coalition protest was a bit of an overreaction. But the environmental sloganeering of The Simpsons as well as Groening's cartoon commentary are symptomatic of Hollywood and a popular culture that are hostile to the concerns and values of most Americans." After the episode aired, media researchers Robert Lichter and Linda S. Lichter found in a study of primetime television that when shows dealt with business themes, 89% portrayed businessmen as swindlers or liars.
Fucking hell. That was quite distinct.
There you go. Yeah, it was there was more to that I've elected not to read because that's enough.
Yeah, it's long enough.
But yeah.
Wow.
A big fuss over nothing.
Yeah. I thought that was just fine. I thought that was a case of... I thought the part of the scene was about the fact that they had the animals getting like partially crushed under the fallen trees because it's not, it's not a looked after place. It was a horrible, dark, deep forest.
And then they're sitting
happy having afternoon tea in the clear space on the stumps. I thought that was funny.
It's obviously a joke. Also, it could have been any industry. It's not important.
Literally
it's a logging industry.
There was the FBI agents caught them for
oil.
The oil.
And the guy mentions hiding nuclear waste.
Yeah, it's not like hiding nuclear waste. People will notice these trees gone.
Yeah.
So, come on. That was definitely an overreaction, in my opinion.
If anything, the point they were making was that every industry can buy.
Yeah, it could be corrupt if they were so willing.
Yeah.
Basically, realistically, it's not really the industry that was getting the shots at them.
The system.
It's the system and the senates that are getting the shots. So I think for me, the massive overreaction just sort of, from my point of view, sort of says guilty dogs whine. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's like, come on. You guys are overreacting to hide your guilt.
Yeah,
that's what I would. That's the way I would see it.
Not that we know anything about.
No. I don't know anything about that. I don't know particularly whether or not anyone actually ever bribed anyone about the timber industry or otherwise.
I'm sure it's happened at some point.
What I'm saying is, you wouldn't react like that if it wasn't a touchy subject already.
Exactly.
And one of the most common things to make it a touchy subject is it's true.
Mm.
So, I don't know. That's
been a lovely little interesting three blind mice trivia segment.
That was really good. Got me talking.
It did indeed. We've really covered this one. David, do you have any other thoughts about the episode?
Oh, I'm still thinking about that fucking lobbying against it.
Yeah, it's really...
Damn. It's kind of bugging me, actually.
You know, the funny thing is, I did a cursory look at the episode this morning, and that's when I found that. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't include this in the episode. I just thought I'll do a quick research and see if there's anything that I hadn't picked up on, and that was it.
Wow. I'm glad you did. That was good.
You did not get who complained and why.
No, I did not.
Eventually, you kind of got.
I got in the rough area of it, but
there's no way.
Facial expressions is mostly how I picked up on that one from you.
And I have autism, so it's like reading a blank book.
Exactly.
It's like
I might as well just start fucking feeling your face for some braille.
It's like reading braille with your eyes. You're seeing shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how you could have got that, to be honest.
I don't know, man. But yeah.
I have a brief bit of Bioshock. Someone got fired for that blunder.
Okay.
George Bush Sr. is shown at the Oval Office sitting at the Resolute desk. Bush never used this desk and instead used the C&O desk, a walnut desk without a front panel. That's all I have for Bioshock. Someone got fired for that blunder. Also, I think there's a shot where Maggie doesn't have her bow.
Yes.
So that's that.
Yeah.
Taking care of business.
Very good. Something that I didn't clock that. But
I didn't clock it either. I just saw it online. I don't care.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't care.
Yeah, I'm not bothered either.
Yee-hi, Yankee Doodle Dandy, motherfucker. You know, what are you going to do? You going to fire a bullet from America and hit me here in Scotland? You fucking Yanks.
Crack on.
You thought you could get through an episode and not get fucking dragged to the coals by us?
This is a very American episode, and we have voting
for Trump
we
again.
have held back quite a bit. We were doing well up until about 20 seconds ago.
You hear about Joe Biden resigning?
Oh, I did see about that. Yeah. Fucking Jesus.
Absolutely fucked.
Yeah, America's fucked. Has been for a while though. Let's face it. Everyone's basically fucked.
We're on the mend here. Tories are gone.
That's true. Yeah.
Those other Tories are in, the ones that pretended they're Labour.
That's the ones.
I voted Green,
Aye.
as I always do.
Yep.
David, what's your one bit of animation that you actually quite liked?
Well, I'm glad you asked there, Connor. Look in your fucking face.
David, what's your one political party that you actually quite like?
None.
None?
None. For varying reasons. Yeah. No, my one bit of animation that I actually quite liked is the sort of corporate pigs sequence. You spotted it as well as I
the
did.
second it started, I looked at you and I went, I think I've just seen David's one bit of animation that you actually quite like.
Yeah. I just like the very paper look about it all and the transition into that.
Mm-hmm.
They sort of like staggered it. The people became the sort of greedy pigs, and then the background sort of changed as they went.
Yeah,
it was. It was really quite an interesting piece of animation just to sort of throw in there. I like it when they put an alternative form of animation. Well, not alternative form of animation, but an alternative style of animation.
It was very flowing as well.
It did. It flowed in and out of it really quite nicely. It was very short, but really quite nice.
I'll say the same.
Yeah, very good.
And we can wrap it up there.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Well, that was Insert Brain here, a Simpsons podcast. I've been your host, Connor, and with me, as always, has been my co-host, David.
And that's been me.
We'll be back next week to cover When Flanders Failed, the third episode of the third season of The Simpsons.
Very good.
You can check us out on Instagram at Insert Brain Here Pod or on Twitter at T422.
Mm-hmm.
Be sure to check out our website, insertbrainhere.podcastpage.io, and our YouTube channel. Yeah, it's all in the link tree.
Yeah, it's all in the link
No, it's not a link tree. We use star or stab or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. The other link tree.
This has been a T422 production.
Smell you later.
Any other little bits you want to add, David?
No, mate. My ass feels like someone's been pounding on it this whole time.
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
It helps me concentrate.
I know.